Kansept knives. Now, I've heard that Kansept knives is actually Kaiser. Some people kind of quit Kaiser and created their own company, and thus was Kansept. Thus is Kansept, I should say. This is what I heard. I don't know how true that is. I find it kind of interesting because Kansept knives kind of does remind me of a little bit like Kaiser knives. And when I brought that up in conversation, that's when I got that little bit of information. I thought that was really interesting. Like I said, I don't know how true that is, but let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into today. You guys already heard it. Kansept knives. Not just any Kansept knives, no. This knife, being the second Kansept knife in my collection, is going to have to be the Hazakura. I've had my eye on this knife. I've turned it down a couple times, simply because of the fact that it's a bit expensive. It is. Now I'm not entirely sure. I can't really remember how much I paid for this. I think it was $130, $120, somewhere around there. It's a little bit, over the $100 mark. But I had it kind of sitting around for a little while before I decided to go ahead and do a video on it. Something reminded me, so this one is the twill carbon fiber with 154 cm blade steel, and yes, the creator is Max Tachuk. I love that name. I don't know why. I just think that name is just too awesome. Max Tachuk. It sounds like I'm saying Master Chuck. Either way, the Hazakura. You guys know I love the Quaken. I love Japanese inspired knives. I love kind of the whole martial blade concept type of feel. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up so you guys can see what you get inside. This was a really tight fit. That's what she said. This was a little bit difficult to take off, but in the box you do get this, which is your user manual information and all this right there, and your microfiber cloth, which is actually quite nice. There's never a shortage of those around, right? But so yeah, here's that. Kansept knives, blah blah blah. You get your tactical silica, which you can throw in the face of your enemies, but please don't. You're just gonna piss them off. And of course, it comes in this Kansept bag. The knife, I mean. Comes in this case. The case is like this, which there's a whole ton of room in there, so I just kind of pulled it down to be a little bit more snug. But this is kind of nice. It comes in this little slip pouch kind of thing. It almost looks like, now I've said this before, but it almost kind of resembles a belt sheath. Now, regardless of whether or not, this is useful to some people, you can use all kinds of stuff for this. You could repurpose this in some way, I suppose, but it's great if you don't want to carry your knife all the time. You want to throw it in something where it can be a little bit more protected. This Kansept case will do it. And not just this knife, it could be any knife. But I really do like that. That's actually nice. It's really, really tough stuff, this pouch. And here's the knife. Now, first impressions are everything. I really do like that twill carbon fiber. But to me, it just looks like a bunch of used up carbon fiber that's been repurposed into a handle. Either way, I think that's kind of a nice touch. It gives it a little bit of character. You got your lanyard hole here, and it is open back construction, so you can clean it a little bit easier. And of course, you got the single screw pen clip, is what I like to call it, like an ink pen clip type of pocket clip. So is that deep carry? Well, I'm not entirely sure if I want to call that deep carry, but I mean, it does sit pretty deep in the pocket. So you're looking about just maybe that much, that knife sticking out of your pocket at most. So with this knife comes just a lot of pretty in my personal opinion. Now I'm going to go ahead and open it up for you guys. That was actually pretty smooth. And here it is, kind of like to me, it's like a Tanto-y, kind of Japanese katana-y looking blade, in my opinion. That looks really nice. It's really light. I mean, really light. That carbon fiber really does make this thing ultra light for what it is. So you see the Kansept knife emblem right there, along with the serial number and 154CM. You flip it around, and you get Max to Chuck's little skull and crossbones right there, which I think is really cool, and of course his name underneath it, and the model name, which is Hazakura. Really awesome knife. Like I said, I've been drooling over this, and I was like, man, that's a really, really awesome knife. And they have different flavors. I think they have, I don't know if they have one in micarta. If I did, I thought, maybe I'm going nuts. I thought I saw one in brown micarta, but I'm not entirely sure. It could have been G10. They do have a G10 version. I think that one is, shoot, don't quote me. No, I'm not going to say any price tags. I don't want you guys to, oh, you're wrong. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Prices change, so I'm not entirely sure. I think the G10 version might be cheaper than the carbon fiber. I think that just goes with anything, but just keep that, in mind. If you want to try to look this up, go ahead and go to Blade HQ, type in Hazakura, and you should see what's available. This is a liner lock design, and of course, if you can see all those little holes right there, this has been weight relieved. You see that right in there where my finger is reflecting? I'm not going to use my flashlight and blind you guys. But this is already relatively light. Now, I'm going to get into the specs after I give you guys the initial first impressions of this knife. And I got to tell you, this is pretty. This is pretty. As somebody told me that it kind of reminds them of a trailing point. And it kind of does. But to me, it still kind of has that Tanto kind of feel to me. And with the name being Hazakura, it kind of sounds like, I don't know, Japanese inspired. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me. But that kind of sounds to me like this is a Kansept's version of a Tanto. I was going to say something else, but my mind went blank. This is one of those kind of, it's just aesthetically pleasing. You got that stone-washed blade right there, slightly polished for a little bit of a mirror kind of effect. Really pretty stuff. You got jimping in the right place here, but no guard as far as you sliding up, so just be aware of that when you're holding this knife. I would not use this for thrusting because it doesn't really look like there's too much protecting you from sliding too far forward, but at the same time, if you have a decent grip on this knife and whatever you're stabbing doesn't hinder you from making the penetration work, then I think you should be fine not having to worry too much about having a forward guard. So either way, that's if you're going to use this for self-defense. To me, I think one of the things, if you want to use this for self-defense, would mean that you need something so you can get to it quickly when you're under stress. Having a forward flipper here, I think, is the only downside of this Hazakura, but I gotta say, before you guys start going crazy, I gotta tell you, what I really like about this is how it looks. With the front flipper, it looks proper, and it looks like it works. Now, I'm not a huge fan of front flippers, you know this, but if it works, it works. Just get used to it. That's just how I see it. If it's not a huge deal, then there shouldn't be a problem with it, right? I really do like this knife for what it is. Is it a dress knife? Yeah, I think it could be. It could be a nice EDC for anything. If you're going out for a night on the town or going to a freaking wedding or a nice dinner, I'm sure carrying something like this would be a nice little addition. But does it have to be a dress knife? No. This would be a great EDC for any occasion. No one's going to see it. It's just going to be sticking out with the pocket clip. What's the point of having spinning wheels when no one's going to be able to really, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me. The forward flipper, I think, is it works. It works. What I really would like is if they made the forward flipper just a little bit more pronounced, like a little bit more bigger on this, a little longer, because getting to it is kind of a pain. I feel like I'm not getting to it all the way. And then on top of that, I got to move my fingers out of the way so that way I can deploy the blade, which means I don't really have good grip on this knife. Now, what I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like about front flippers, and when you have to configure your grip so that way you can make the front flipper work, you have less grip on the knife, and which causes people to accidentally drop the knife because you're trying to finagle a front flipper, which is already awkward enough as it is. One of my friends said, this front flipper must have been designed, any front flipper knife must have been designed by a guy who likes to pick his nose and eat his boogers. Now, I'm not entirely sure how true that is. There could be some truth in that, because this is kind of just like giving a knife a reach around. This is kind of weird. You gotta, because you can't do this. You can't do this. You gotta go move your fingers out of the way, put your thumb on the front flipper, hope that it's in the right position, and pop it open, which you're gonna miss a couple times because how small this freaking front flipper is. But look at how weird my grip is. It's barely hanging on to the knife. So, of course, there's other people that say, well, just do it like a lighter, like a flipper. Like, you just go like this. But still, I'm not in the best of grips right here. I mean, I got this weird, funky two-finger grip thing, so I can make this, lighter trick work. But most of the handle is sticking up and out of the way. So, with that being said, this is a kind of an awkward opening mechanism, especially with the front flipper not being very easy to get to. Now, am I saying that that's a bad thing? To me, it's kind of a loss. This is a very beautiful knife, and I really do enjoy the look of this knife aesthetically. Everything looks fantastic on this thing. Just the front flipper is one of those where you kind of have to sit and play with it a little bit in order to get used to it. So much as to try and accept it, I guess, is probably what, because you have to expect this to be the only proper way to open the knife. You can't, I just gravity flicked it open, but how many times did that take for that to, pop open? So you're going to hear the garbage truck in the background. I do apologize. This is not a bad knife for what it's worth. It's really pretty. It works. I love the blade design on this thing, and it's really light. It's just a nice EDC for those of you who kind of want that Japanese feel. At least to me, that's what it feels like. A Tonto in your pocket, but a little bit smaller. Liner locks. Now, a lot of people don't really like liner locks. They like the other stuff, compression lock, all that, back lock, whatever. This is okay for that. This is okay. Could it be better? Anything could be better, right? This is not bad. It's a nice, pretty knife for what it is. It runs on ball bearings for the pivot. Obviously, very smooth deployment on this knife. There's really not much to say. It's a little bit slippery when it comes to the grip on this, but you can't really see it. See if I can get it on camera here, right there. You can kind of see these little bumps right here on the side, on the edge of the handle. And that's very, very light jimping on this, and I can feel it, but it's not really effective. I don't know what that's for. I don't know if I'm sure they did that on purpose, but it just feels kind of like they were going for that, and then they just kind of backed out. So it's very faint, but it is there. Throw a lanyard on it, what have you. It's nice and light. Now, I'm going to get into the specs right now. I gotta tell you, I really do like this knife. I think it's a very pretty knife for what it is and what it's capable of, being. So, good stuff. You hear me rambling on about that. So here we are. It comes in at a whopping 2.74 ounces. Hella light. It is under 3 ounces. Wow. For a 3.5-inch knife of 154 cm, that's pretty impressive. Here we go. See, I kind of miss that front flipper thing. That's the only way to deploy it, or I can, gravity flick it open, but why would I want to do that? It just seems a little bit weird to me. So, yeah, it's a little bit more than 3.5 inches. Just by a hair, I want to say. If I bring it up just a tad, right up to the tip. So, yeah, 3 5/8, it looks like. I'm not counting the cutting edge, the 3.5 cutting edge, maybe just a hair more. With an overall 8 1/8 and 1/4 length. And the handle size being just shy, a little bit more than 4.5. So 4 and 5, 4.5 inches. Excuse me, I was holding it way too far back. Exactly 4.5 inches of handle. So really nice. Let's see how thin it is. I'll take the calipers out for you guys. When you're looking at the blade, you're looking at 2.7 on the blade, and on the handle, you're looking at a 10.9. Really awesome stuff. I guess my best advice to people buying this is, if you don't mind front flippers, get it. When front flippers first were a thing, I wasn't too interested in it. I just thought it was kind of silly. But it does have some aesthetic to it. If you look at it, there's no thumb studs, there's no back flipper. You just see that little piece of metal sticking up. That's actually kind of, to me, it's a bit elegant. It just seems like, how do you open this thing? Do you do it two-handed, or do you just freaking flick it open with a little bit of, I got it open like that. You could do that if you want to, but that's going to take forever. You're going to sit there looking like an idiot. Or you could simply use the front flipper, which means you got to move your fingers out of the way, be in this weird grip without a thumb because you're using your thumb to, do that. Or you can go to the lighter thing and do that. Either way, you can still access the blade. And, I just wish that this was a little bit more, just a little longer, so that way I can actually get to it and open it up. I really do wish that. But it's not bad. I think that's my only gripe. If they're only going to put one way to open this, they could have made that just a little better. But they did it to try and keep the size in equal ratio to that, so it doesn't look too ugly, I guess. I mean, that's probably my only guess to it. It's still nice. It still works. And, I guess it's not too bad. Once you get used to it, it's probably not, that crazy. It's not bad. Could it be better? Yeah, anything could be better. But Kansept knives make some good stuff. I do plan on getting more Kansept knives, but I'm kind of picky. There are some knives out there that I really, really do think aren't getting too much attention. And this Hazakura is one of those knives that just really just looks really awesome to me. Another thing is some people that don't know Tontos look at things and they go, oh, that looks kind of like a butter knife. Or, oh, that looks kind of like a kitchen knife. Yeah, come on, man. It's Tonto. It's not the square tipped. Those are the ones that are like Americanized Tontos. They're nice, but they're not the old traditional stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, this kind of does resemble a little bit of a trailing point. I don't know. Either way, it looks nice. It's nice, pretty. Really sharp. I don't really have any paper with me right now, otherwise I would cut. Wait, no, maybe I do. Hold on. I do! Haha, alright. That water-damaged paper. Well, still paper that doesn't need to be here, right? What the hell was that? Yeah, this knife is nice and sharp. This paper is kind of soaked and sucks. Yeah. So yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It's poor paper. Oh well. Good stuff. I really do like this knife design. I think it's really nice. I think it's a compliment to anyone's collection, really. And I really do like 154 CM. It's one of my nice. I'm really familiar with it because way back a long time ago, Benchmade only used 154 CM for a little while before they switched over. So I'm a bit familiar with 154 CM, and I really do like it. It's not bad. Anyways, Kansept knives, Hazakura. Like the knife, really do. Like the design. Kansept knives has hit it out the park with this one. Like I said, the front flipper is a little bit awkward, but I can get over it. A little bit of finagling and playing around with it is going to be to where I can get used to it, and maybe I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but if it works, it works. Can't fix what's not broken, right? Anyways, go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified anytime I post new stuff in these craziest of times. Everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all awesome people in the next video.